And we are the Non-Prophets. I'm Denis Loubet along with Kevin Stein and Johnny. We're here at the Free Thought Library in Austin, Texas on the 15th of March to remind you that in this time of physical virus worries, there's a mimetic virus that's been running rampant since before humans recorded history. This show is sponsored by the Atheist Community of Austin, a nonprofit educational organization for the promotion of positive atheism and the separation of church and state. It's a reaction to the mimetic disease of religion and the damage it causes to our species, our culture, and each of us as individuals. If you want to learn more about how to protect yourself against this age-old mind virus, you can call the ACA voicemail at 512-220-6561 or visit their website at www.atheist-community.org. The Non-Prophets broadcasts every first and third Sunday of each month from 3 to 4:30 Central Time, bringing you reports of outbreaks and containment efforts. You can even join the Non-Prophets chat room by following the directions at www.nonprophetsradio.com and express your concerns and solutions. So don't panic, but be aware that most people around you have one strain or another of religion. Until we have a vaccine for this ancient enemy, the best we can do is attempt to control its spread by practicing good mental hygiene in the form of questioning everything and applying critical thinking to all aspects of our lives. Thank you.
Well said. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome back, Johnny.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Yeah.
It's good to have you. Man, speaking of panicking, how much panic buying did you guys do?
I admittedly did a bit of panic buying.
Did you?
But better to be safe than sorry. All the food that I bought, I'm going to eat.
Okay.
I just bought it all at once.
Yeah, you're not hoarding, 100 rolls of toilet paper?
No.
Okay, that's good.
No, we got toilet paper, but we're going to eat that. Yeah, so it's
Perfect. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man, that has been
Crazy.
It's been bothering the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Just all the panic buying.
The panic buying. Yes, yes. It's kind of crazy. But what's bothering me is like nobody writing science fiction predicted that the airline industry would be destroyed by a virus.
I guess they just didn't care enough.
It's weird.
I mean,
I'm just searching what I know about the science fiction stories that I wrote.
Yeah, they say we'll have flying cars, and we don't. But no one predicted, a virus having just all these weird repercussions.
Yeah, it's a weird ripple effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess they all just kind of assumed that we'd be past that by now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd say, oh, well, people wouldn't fly. But they didn't consider that, that would destroy the industry. It's weird.
Well, also, I mean, people don't consider that you might not know you're sick.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks. It's crazy.
Is it the Fermi's paradox where you're gonna by the time you develop the technology to move out into other galaxies and universes, you will have destroyed yourselves by then.
Right.
Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's why we it's the Fermi paradox is why don't we hear galactic civilizations all over the place talking to each other and stuff.
Yeah, we're supposed to have moved past airline companies by the time this happens.
Right.
Yeah.
There are, I forget what they call them when they're talking about the Fermi paradox, but it's like, it's like a sieve. You can pass this sieve, but the next one, we might all get caught in the filter and just die. It's the great filter.
It's not over yet.
No, it's not over
We've
yet.
still got some time.
Yeah.
Well, I know. We've got a story coming up that I've got a lot of hope. Fills me with a lot of hope. There is a cure out there.
Hey.
Yeah?
That through the television screen.
Cool.
I don't want to give it away. They're in order.
Ah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then. Okay.
So Yeah,
Are we going straight to news?
Why not? Let's
right.
roll right into it.
In wake of pandemic, he made worse. Trump calls for National Day of Prayer. This is by Hemant Mehta. After spending weeks lying about the seriousness of the coronavirus, even labeling it a Democratic hoax before, today, declaring a national emergency over it, Donald Trump is calling for a National Day of Prayer on Sunday.
Yeah, that would be when you're seeing this. Well, if you're watching it as it debuts. So
It is my great honor to declare Sunday, March 15th as a National Day of Prayer. We are a country that, throughout our history, has looked to God for protection and strength in times like these. No matter where you may be, I encourage you to turn towards prayer in an act of faith. Together, we will easily prevail.
So those are the two tweets that Trump tweeted
So
out.
those are tweets, yeah. So that's the president saying pray.
Oh, that's comforting. I feel better already.
I'm glad he's taken an eraser to the First Amendment. That's great.
This is the kind of thing that politicians always say. It's background radiation for politicians, just like I have a close personal relationship with my pastor. Sure you do, Don. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, his pastor, Paula Kane White, so maybe she does look his type.
Yeah.
Not saying.
So, he's directly inciting prayer.
Yeah, it is. I'll admit, it is pretty boilerplate, but
Yeah, there is.
He's not the first president to do that.
no.
He's not the most religious one to do that. Even ones that might be considered relatively respectful of the First Amendment still do it.
I mean, when it's always been pretty standard lip service, but actually creating this is going to be a National Day of Prayer, that's a step up, and that's going to be that's just always going to exist now.
Yeah.
Right, and it's to be expected in these kind of times, right? When people go through challenges and they're afraid.
And there's fear, yeah.
They're going to turn to that kind of stuff. So, like I said, background radiation. But still egregious and inexcusable.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, next year when...
We understand it. We don't condone it.
Right.
Next year and the year after that and the year after that, this is still going to be brought up by Christian leaders saying, hey, it's the National Day of... it's the Trump National Day of Prayer. That's going to live on basically forever now.
Yeah.
And that's... I find that a little bit egregious, more so than the standard, thoughts and prayers, lip service, which actually find really, really gross from elected officials and people who have the power to actually do something.
Yeah, but
I find the thoughts and prayers wholly unacceptable.
T's and P's are free.
They are.
There's no shipping on that.
Well, the thing is, it allows you...
The box is also empty.
It allows you to do absolutely nothing. It promotes inactivity while allowing you to pat yourself on the back.
Yeah, by
It's
thinking
gross.
you're doing something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bizarro world. All right.
So, happy National Day of Prayer, guys.
So, next story. Televangelist. Only sissy pansy churches shut down due to the virus. Real Christians hold mass gatherings. Oh, boy.
So do real Christians then not go to the doctor when they have a broken leg?
I have to assume not.
And do real Christians also, when they start bleeding out, not go to the doctor to
some
get a blood
don't.
transfusion?
Well, apparently sissy pansy ones do, according to this guy.
What is it? The Christian scientists don't, actually?
I only like Christians that don't
risk
bleed.
their lives. Well, shame on every European full gospel church. Bunch of sissies that shut down during this thing. Catholic Church not having holy water in the lobby. How holy is the water then? That should be a sign to you that your whole religion's a fraud. Any faith that doesn't work in real life is a fake faith. Totally fake.
I hate that this guy is making good points there because he's garbage.
Who is writing this? It's Christianists, Trump cultists. I have no idea. Okay, so is this a tweet? Is this a...
Sorry, what?
Where did this story come from?
Oh, that... damn it. I don't have the headline.
Okay,
Sorry.
That's all right. If you're putting out pamphlets and telling everybody to use Purell before they come into the sanctuary and don't greet anyone, you should just turn in your ministry credentials and burn your church down. Turn it into a casino or something. You're a loser. Bunch of pansies, no balls. Got neutered somewhere along the line and don't even realize it. Let me tell you, if the devil doesn't want there to be mass gatherings, it's time to hold mass gatherings. If I lived in Italy, I would call an open-air crusade to pray for the sick. If you have to go to jail, go to jail. This is apparently televangelist Jonathan Shuttlesworth.
Yeah.
Whoever. That's what I was looking for.
Whoever that is.
Wow.
So...
Okay.
Yeah,
Kevin,
I mean...
what were you going to say?
It's just, it's crazy. Promoting mass gatherings when that is the last thing we need to be doing right now.
Right.
Yeah.
But this cat is on the fringe.
Yeah.
There are millions and millions and millions of Christians who practice a reasonable expectation of their faith, whatever that means, where they're still going to the doctor, they're still not participating in mass gatherings. The vast majority of those people are. Now, unfortunately, it only takes a few bad apples like this encouraging people to congregate and pass this.
They are the loudest and get the most attention. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even your small town preacher, he still has a flock of generally, somewhere between 30, 40 and up people that actually look to him or her as an authority figure and seriously consider the things that they say. Mm-hmm. And that is, in my opinion, completely unearned authority because, being a pastor or preacher or an imam or whatever, that's just, Yeah.
Well,
I don't think your opinion matters any more than the people that you're speaking to.
Now, the attitude is really weird here. Now, I can understand this attitude because I sort of had the same attitude after, like, 9/11, way back in the dim mists of antiquity. I was listening to them, assemble the, Homeland Security and put TSA agents in the airports and do all this stuff and going, why are we dancing to the terrorist tune? Why are we doing this? We should keep going as normal and just, pretty much, if not ignore the terrorists, then at least admit it's kind of cowardly.
I see where you're coming from. I mean,
but the thing is, flipping the bird at them actually makes, you're actually interacting with another thinking, quote unquote, being when you're saying, screw you terrorists, right?
Sure.
But saying screw you virus, that achieves nothing other than getting people sick and dying and everything else.
Yeah, the thing about being a scam artist or a charlatan is that you can bullshit your way with your flock or your marks.
Yeah.
But you can't bullshit your way past physics or medicine,
right,
or physiology or any of these like scientific, real existing things in the world.
Yeah.
You might be able to convince those parishioners that they can walk in there and with the power of the Holy Spirit and their faith, they're immune to it. But then they're going to go home and they're going to get sick.
Right.
And then they're going to say it was the devil trying to tempt them or something.
Yeah, there's a million apologists flipping off the theory of evolution. And it's like, it's true whether you flip it off or not.
Yeah.
You're not affecting it.
I appreciate you pointing out that this guy is on the fringe.
Yes.
Because it's good to point that out and not paint with a broad brush and say, hey, this guy represents, the whole of Christianity. He does, however, at least hold a significant amount of sway on whatever size his flock is. if they're impacted by him to go ahead and ignore safety protocols, then that has a ripple effect that it affects the people around them and the people around them and around them.
It sure does. And his flock, and I hope this doesn't happen, but we're told that there will be a percentage of people who will die from this.
Yeah.
A percentage of his flock, maybe a very small number of individuals, may get very sick and may die. And if they're fortunate enough to avoid that, then all the better. But unfortunately, they will have learned a bad lesson.
Yeah, and he's inciting, ignore being careful.
Yeah, and when if someone who follows him and is part of his flock dies, that death is on his hands.
Right.
That is his fault.
Yeah, pretty much.
I was going to be meeting up with some friends this weekend to play some board games, and I was very much looking forward to it. And I haven't seen these guys in a while, and they canceled it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the guy whose house it was is a church-going Catholic guy. And he's like, I'm not going to take any chances. We shouldn't be doing this. We should be cutting down exposure. And I want to play games. Let's just do something online.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. We've all got to do our part. Sounds like World War II propaganda kind of thing, but it's true. It takes all of us because it only takes one person.
Right. Weirdly, we're like, nearly this is an example of what happens during a pandemic when you have an internet where people can still communicate really easily with each other.
Yeah.
But not be in close proximity. And
we have herd immunity to worry about. So yes, we absolutely do all have to do our part.
I think it's sneaking up on us because it's affecting so many aspects of our lives. And Dennis, you said this, science fiction authors weren't talking about how these pandemics would affect us. Talking about, you want to have a get-together for a board game party? No, not going to do it. I want to go on a trip? No. I want to go dancing. There's a show I want to go see. Ordinarily, I would, but not going to do it this time.
Not now, yeah.
You want to have a brunch? Ain't going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Give it some time.
Yeah, I was going to go to ACA'S in Phoenix. That was canceled.
Yeah.
And, the ACA Free Thought Library is on lockdown for the foreseeable future.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
It is only host and production, basically, that's allowed here right now.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's,
now, and also especially Sunday when this is coming out.
Oh, yeah.
AXP, Talk Heathen, there will be no audience.
Right. Last time I was here, there was a big audience, and I was going... Yeah, I was looking at that askance
we're
going,
usually
that's
packed
kind of
to
scary. So let's, and I guess the people in charge.
We just have each other. We just have each other.
It's weird, man.
And the folks on the other side of that wall.
Yeah, and we're all taking the risk to be here talking to you people. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about personal responsibility, and usually these are the exact kind of people who rail about that constantly, and yet when the chips are down and when it actually matters, they've completely flipped.
Yeah. It seems like a temper tantrum is what it sounds like to me. This preacher man talking about showing up. I wonder if he doesn't believe that the disease is real, but I wonder if now that certain politicians have acknowledged that it's real, if he's changed his tune. Maybe we should follow up on that and find out if he called off his...
I doubt it.
His pox party.
That kind of person doesn't usually admit any mistakes. They usually double down.
Generally, no, yeah.
No.
It's weird, yeah.
Well,
next story?
Yeah, with that.
All right.
Go ahead and move on.
And here we go. Televangelist. Touch my oily hand through the TV and I'll cure your coronavirus. By Hemet Mehta. During a live stream last night, televangelist Kenneth Copeland cured coronavirus. It's gone now. He just held out his hand, asked viewers to touch their screens to meet it, and somehow coronavirus is no longer a thing. Who knew?
Well, I told you.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to get, there's a video clip. It's a little bit too long, but it's very creepy. Because he's just got his hand up really close to the screen, and it's all covered in oil. I guess it's supposed to be holy oil.
Weird.
And he's doing this really creepy prayer.
Yep.
Just with his hand right up to the screen.
Put your hand on the television set. Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord Jesus. He received your healing. Now say it. I take it. I have it. It's mine. I thank you and praise you for it. Oh, boy. It's the weird Jesus language.
Yeah, I wanted to play the clip, and while the clip was going, have all of us like get our hands oily. As soon as the clip dropped, have all of us with our hand up. But
right, or put on those blue gloves from.
Yeah.
Okay, Kenneth Copeland has talked a lot of shit.
He's been around a long time.
Yeah.
And has he ever had proper fallout for his bad predictions, his lousy attitudes towards things?
Never.
So they ain't going to affect him in one.
Well,
No.
I mean, he cures pancreatic cancer and all kinds of stuff on a daily basis, apparently.
But I have to assume that once people feel they're cured, that they can go out and interact with other people all they want.
This is more of the same. Anyone who actually pays attention to him and takes anything that he says seriously was watching that, and there is at least a chance that they feel like he may have put a magical shield around them that'll keep them from getting sick, and now they're just going to go out and about.
Right.
Can I ask,
and they won't make other people sick. That's what they think.
does it actually say that he's healing the coronavirus, or is he healing their spiritual needs, their injuries of their soul?
According to the word of God, I am healed, and I consider not my own body. I consider not symptoms in my own body, but only that which God has promised, only that what the word has said. And by his stripes I was healed, and by his stripes I am healed now, and am not the sick trying to get healed. I am the healed, and the devil is trying to give me the flu. Or whatever else kind of thing he's trying.
God never promised that you would not get sick.
Yep.
But
he's using faith language, this faith gibberish to create a aura of plausible deniability.
right,
Yeah.
because if you believe in the saving power of Jesus Christ, the important thing is healed. Your soul, your eternal soul. This is just a waiting room on the way to something bigger and better. So, if he didn't say what,
he
I'll
says
cure the coronavirus.
Healing. He received your healing. It's generic. It's like he heals your. Oh boy, right. People will, of course, think they're cured of the coronavirus. And
Yeah, that's extremely irresponsible.
Expose other people to it.
Grossly immoral to be doing right now.
If I were a preacher of some kind, and I believed all that stuff, and I actually respected the discoveries that humans have made in the course of science and in medicine, I would be very explicit, and I would say, I am not curing any physical maladies that you have, but I am calling upon whatever to bestow upon you the strength, the emotional strength, spiritual strength, and fortitude to see through the end of this difficult time and know that you're not alone, and yada yada blah blah blah.
You got it. Yeah,
That would be fine. That's responsible. It's a bunch of nonsensical platitudes, but it's good.
Because we can say the same things as folks who aren't convinced that these things exist. We can say, there's strength in a community support, and in the belief that if we stick it out and we're kind to people and we're patient and we make those little sacrifices that we need to make, even if that means giving up a board game party or not going to some sort of recreational event or what it might be.
Right.
And, someone's alone, they don't have this. I'm going to go ahead and go to their house and maybe drop off some some food that I'm going to clean off with. There's things we can still do to help each other and to be supportive both physically and psychologically to each other. But we got to be very clear. We got to take this crap seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
It's crazy.
I mean, you kind of just did.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
All right. So next story, creationist. Churches should hoard toilet paper and preach to those who want it.
Yeah. So this was Ken Ham.
Wow. Okay. In a post made to the Answers in Genesis website yesterday, creationist Ken Ham propagated a list of ways churches could respond to the coronavirus pandemic. He didn't write it, but the endorsement is loud and clear. And what's on that list? A sensible recommendation to purchase high-demand personal hygiene products that people may need, followed by an utterly selfish way to proselytize. Have someone creative and biblical write a tract for distribution to each person receiving the personal hygiene products. What a travesty to meet people's physical needs and neglect to tell them about their most important spiritual need, a relationship with the Creator, Redeemer, Jesus Christ.
So is this kind of like the other end of having to sing for your supper?
Yeah.
It's having to listen,
I guess.
for your toilet paper.
Yeah. I went to the AIG site. They had it linked on here, and there was three main bullet points of here some things that we can do as a huge organization, Answers in Genesis, that we can do during this pandemic.
Right.
The first two were great. I can't remember what the first one was, but the second one was like, hey, let's go ahead and buy up a lot of this stuff, and we're not going to, conduct in profiteering. We're not going to sell it. We will give it away. We're saying explicitly that we should give it away, with the caveat that you have to listen to this and that and the other, and you basically it's you want toilet paper? Okay, well, maybe join my religion.
Here's what they could do. They could hand out the toilet paper, right, to those who need it, and hand with the toilet paper some of their AIG materials, and when they run out of the toilet paper, they've got the AIG materials.
That's right.
That was one of the ideas that was on the site. It was like provide a pamphlet as well, but you have to go to the church. You have to probably wait in line and go through all that. Why can't you just do good for good's sake? Why does it have to have that caveat of join my friggin' religion?
Then it wouldn't be opportunistic.
I think they are doing good. Right?
Yeah.
They think they're doing good for the people's physical needs, and they're saving their eternal soul.
Well, I mean, that is how they count it.
This is such the horrible part of it all. They see themselves as the heroes.
Yeah, you don't need to have that caveat. You should just do good. That's it. Just do good.
This comes from people who don't understand what a gift is. The gift of Jesus Christ, giving us redemption and all this stuff. No, it's not a gift. It comes with a ton of strings. I mean, good grief.
It's like when we were
You
talking
got to
about
do everything I say.
It's like when we were talking about the Salvation Army. Yes, they do good, but they also do a lot of bad.
Yeah.
And so, why would I take the good with the bad when I can just have the good? Why would I give to an organization that discriminates against people while doing good when I could just give to an organization that just does good without discriminating?
Yeah.
Right.
I have that choice, so I'm going to make it. And I think AIG, their heart is in the right place, but they are misguided in this attempt. It is a form of profiteering.
Right.
It is, I guess, spiritual profiteering.
The other thing is, let's just look at the logistics of it. Are they actually... is by buying up all the toilet paper and other necessities, is that more efficient than just letting people go get it themselves? I don't know. I guess I'd have to look at the chain, the logistical chain in there.
Yeah.
But again, then if everyone's going to one point and then one person gets infected, every single person, it's like a distribution point for the damn virus.
Yeah. And also the lines at the church to get the free amenities might be significantly worse than at
Who knows?
the 50 some odd other locations that you could have gone into and not had to waste hours of your day trying to get basic amenities because the fucking local church bought them all up.
Right.
Because AIG told them to. Told them it was a good way to force their proselytizing on the community.
Right. And the story continues. Meanwhile, as reader Carey points out, AIG has 2 major conferences coming up. One that takes place at the end of the month is aimed at women. The other, in early April, offers a creationist take on radical climate change. Neither conference has been canceled yet, but both events will likely draw in hundreds upon hundreds of participants from all over the country, many of them presumably elderly, all coming near Cincinnati.
Oh, you think people who are young Earth creationists are likely elderly? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't say.
Ark Encounter and the Creation Museum continue to remain open.
Are they open as of today?
I don't know.
They were open as of
March 12th.
As of the 12th. Yeah, which will be 3 days ago.
Disney closed, so yeah.
It's possible that the Ark Encounter might close down now that there's been that presidential announcement.
Maybe, but I mean, that is grossly irresponsible.
It is.
Yeah.
Because they know damn well that their clientele is mostly elderly. That makes it that much more egregious.
Yeah.
You know?
All right. And now, Northam signs bill to ban conversion therapy for minors in VA. That's
Virginia.
Virginia.
Yeah. Oh, this was meant to be the palate cleanser. We've got some good news for a change.
Okay.
Good.
Yes.
Virginia Governor Ralph Northam on Monday signed a bill that will ban so-called conversion therapy for minors in the state. Well, excellent.
Yay.
Happy days.
Maryland and D.C. are among the U.S. jurisdictions in which the highly discredited practice has been banned. Virginia will become the first southern state to prohibit conversion therapy for minors once the bill takes effect on July 1st. This issue is personal for me as a pediatric neurologist who has cared for thousands of children, said Northam. In a statement, according to the Washington Post, conversion therapy is not only based in discriminatory junk science, it is dangerous and causes lasting harm to our youth. No one should be made to feel wrong for who they are, especially not a child. I'm proud to sign this ban into law. Democrats last November regained control of the Virginia General Assembly for the first time in more than 2 decades. The bill, which State Delegate Patrick Hope, Democrat from Arlington County, introduced, is among the LGBTQ rights measures that Virginia lawmakers have approved during the 2020 legislative session. The General Assembly last week gave its final approval to the Virginia Values Act, which would add sexual orientation and gender identity to the state's non-discrimination law. Northam is expected to sign the measure in the coming weeks.
Yeah, that's really good news.
So that is good.
It's about damn time. And what kind of strikes me, I forgot that it mentioned that it is the first southern state to do so. Mm-hmm. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's one of the most northernmost southern states.
Well, yeah. It's a southern state, yeah.
That's great. I'd love to hear what the other side had to say about that. I've read a little bit here and there of that argument, and it's a bunch of malarkey, but it's made. It's violating their religious liberty for parents to be able to force their children to pretend that they're not homosexual or something.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the conversion therapy, it generally, it has to do with camps, and a lot of the practices inside the camps is straight up just abuse and torture.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
What kind of stuff?
That a lot of
There's no oversight, that's for sure.
Well, damn right. Think Clockwork Orange type of things, you know.
Yeah.
Worst case that I'm aware of, I had heard reports of basically, you know, watching pornographic material with authority figures around you and basically trying to train you to not enjoy what you enjoy.
And these are children watching pornographic material, or is this adults?
18 at least.
Okay, at least
Yeah.
18. Okay.
Yeah.
That is the weirdest, most childish, strange way to go about it.
I thought that.
Yeah,
like this-
I mean, I say pornographic.
so
it could be
shallow.
like Sears catalog kind of stuff.
Like
you know?
go-go dancers or something, or
I mean,
well, isn't lustfulness a sin? And yet they're using lustfulness to try to, or the lusty images and such to train people to be otherwise. It sounds like that an action or something is conditionally ethical. Then
It does, doesn't it?
gee, they don't have an objective basis for their morality.
Apparently
if
not.
it's situational.
I should say that what I was describing probably hasn't happened for a very, very long time.
Yeah, well.
That's probably way, archaic at this point.
Now what are they doing?
You know what? I'm not the right person to ask for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, no, this is very good news.
I would be, that's good news. But I would be interested in finding out what techniques they're employing to make people a different sexual orientation.
Yep. But, you could say, that was what they did back in the day, but it's like they'd still be doing it as if there hadn't been an outcry.
Yeah, I mean, it's still psychological torture to try and force someone to essentially be someone that they're not.
Yeah.
Against their will. No, you are not. Because if you even considered the reverse of that for a split second, even the most hard line of these people would be horrified by that. Like, oh yeah, you're going to be taken to a camp, and we're going to try and force you to be gay by whatever means necessary, whether it is extreme or not extreme. That is still horrific.
But again, from their perspective, homosexuality and bisexuality or other things that aren't heterosexuality are dysfunctional behaviors that are choices by individuals.
Right. We're
Kind
going
of
to
like-
make you choose otherwise.
Like you have a tick. Like you say and ah too much, and if you're just trained enough,
Right.
we can train it right on out of you. They're not seeing it as a different way from heterosexuality, an equally valid way that a person is.
Yeah.
They're seeing it as a dysfunction, and they want to cure the dysfunction.
And it seems like their method of training is all stick and no carrot.
Well, the
I
carrot
don't
is
know.
that they can have
Yeah.
a nuclear family,
Yeah,
a white picket fence.
We're not going to ostracise you from the community anymore, and your
Right.
family won't disown you. But
That's
we might engage in maybe some electroshock therapy and stuff like that.
Jeez.
I would like to see if they put out any statistics showing their successes, and have those statistics been reviewed by any kind of an authority.
I could swear that I recently heard that AA stats came out recently.
That's right.
Yeah, did
A-
they?
Yeah, they did, and I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't read that article. I just saw it. I'm like, oh,
Damn it, me neither.
sorry.
Oh man.
But we're not talking about AA. We're talking
what?
about reassignment.
Yeah.
Not reassignment. What's the term? What is the
Gender reassignment?
No, not gender reassignment.
That's conversion therapy.
Conversion therapy. Sorry,
That's
yeah.
it.
Conversion therapy.
No, we'll get Jenna back on the show to talk about AA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well,
I mean, all the other states, where the hell are you?
Yeah. I have a question,
Okay, shoot.
and it's, how do Christians know what God wants when in the Bible God issues fake commands?
Oh, you mean like
Abraham,
yeah. When he tells him to
kill your
to
son,
murder his son.
sacrifice your son. How does that not set God every divine command as suspect at that point?
That was on purpose. He had another command as he was about to stab him to death. So we know what you can trust because you just do what God says, and then waiting for the.
But the first command then was false?
No, it was a test. And he
But
passed
then
the test.
But then any
He
command.
passed the test, Charlie.
But then any command that God gives can be a test.
That's right.
He's telling you to do something he doesn't really want you to do.
Are there any examples of in the Bible or in other scriptures where God gives you a command to do something, you do it, and then God rolls up and says, "Oh yeah, I didn't want you to do that at all"?
This sounds like
I don't know.
a
Is there?
great line of reasoning to justify horrible, atrocious acts.
Oh yeah, because I guess if God tells you to go into a town, God tells you to go into this town and shoot them all up.
Right.
You just have to obey. And if God is testing you, then God will stop you before you empty your clip.
Maybe.
Right. But then,
Or maybe they were all demon possessed and you're not really killing humans.
are
I
you
guess?
being?
I don't know.
Are you being moral when you try to kill your son, or are you being moral when you don't? He tells you to do both things. It's weird. I guess you're moral both ways.
You're doing an obviously immoral act, but since God is the arbiter of morality, doing something terrible because God told you to do it has to somehow be moral.
Right. A is not
which is completely warped.
So if Abraham had said, "Okay, I'll take him up to the mountain and I'm going to stab him," and then the angel fails to stab him for some reason because he's wrestling on the ground with him, he takes the angel out and then stabs his son to death.
Yeah.
That would have been acceptable?
I have to assume.
Because Abraham could have said that could have been a devil in disguise. It could have been a demon pretending to be an angel.
Yes. When you also presume a supernatural father of lies with unknown powers of persuasion, things get really murky at that point.
But that wouldn't have happened because God is all-knowing and is all-powerful and is all-good. And if God knew that one angel could have been overpowered, God would have sent two.
It would have sent two. Right.
Yeah, because as we all know, God doesn't screw anything up. I mean, except for the whole flood thing, but...
Yeah, but why is he testing? It's so weird. You're a God. You don't have to test. You just know.
Well, maybe he wasn't testing it for his own sake, for God's own sake. He needed Abraham to see that he'd be willing to blindly follow a voice in his head to commit murder of his own child.
God.
And once he realized that, he passed the test. He was, what do they call it in fraternities? What do they call it? Hazing.
Twisted.
Yeah.
He's thoroughly hazed. He's subordinated his will to his daddy, and now he's ripe to receive God's great boon.
Right. That's just
So did he
horrible.
Did he have the
Twisted.
free will to either do it or not do it?
Oh, boy.
Like I feel like I know what your answer is going to be.
Well, yeah, I'm going to say, what free will? But it's like, every story in the Bible that, would address like free will fails. It's like you've got Jesus saying, "Oh, Peter, you're going to deny me 3 times." And Peter, in full, free will mode says, "Oh, no, I won't." And yet, there he goes. It's like, no amount of free will he could bring to bear would change that. So it's like free will is useless.
Jesus knew Peter better than Peter knew himself. We've all had friends where they say, "Oh, I'm not gonna eat any meat for all of January. I'm not gonna have any alcohol." I'm like,
sure.
"Okay, good on you. Go do it." And then they like, "Oh, I had some bacon, and I drank a beer." Of course he did. Of course he did. I was supporting you all the way, but it was entirely up to you, and you were gonna do it. I knew it.
Right.
I just hope that you wouldn't have done that.
But it doesn't speak to free will. You're that predictable. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, if there's an entity that knows everything that you possibly can or will do, then are you ever really making a choice?
Right. And it created the universe.
If it's already laid out.
It could create any universe it wanted, and it created the universe where you made that decision.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. The act of creation is the coercion. Yeah.
That was a hard turn that we just made.
Yes.
I liked that though. Yeah.
Well, do you want to read your story or?
Yeah, let's go into email.
All right,
save this
emails.
for last, or maybe not even covered at all. But we'll see.
As expected, Chuck has written to us. Chuck in Arizona says, "Is shunning necessarily a bad thing? If the family member who lost his faith happened to be the one with a job, he'd suddenly have a lot more spending money and some spare rooms in his house. And a Mormon who suddenly got rich could immediately get his clinging relatives off his back. The shunning promise seems like a selling point in favor of Mormonism." Good point. It depends who shuns who.
Yeah.
Right. You're shunning me? Get out of my house.
I will say this. I think the question is kind of grounded in a little bit of, I would say probably a little bit of privilege. I would imagine that Chuck maybe hasn't had to deal with being shunned.
Yes, it's not something desirable.
Or is it tongue-in-cheek, Chuck?
Well, I mean,
It could be tongue-in-cheek, Chuck.
It could be
Probably.
a little bit of both. I basically, I was never deep in any kind of faith. So I haven't had to deal with that to a great extent. But I would imagine that...
Oh, the description I've heard from people who have gone through that.
Yeah, I've heard some pretty
terrible.
bad stories.
A lot of folks that come here to the Free Thought Library have experienced this.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why they come here, is because it is so painful to have lost friends and close family members, children, parents, aunts and uncles, and even best friends and partners to this kind of thing. And they come here to find others who won't abandon them.
Right.
And that's the fact that we are social creatures. We need each other in so many ways.
Yeah.
Although for the foreseeable future, please don't come here.
Don't be close.
We're here for you. We're here online. We'll talk to you on the phone. But don't come here. Just for everyone's benefit, including your own.
Yeah, we're closed.
We'll live to fight another day and meet and hug another day.
Right.
I'm gonna go ahead and disagree. I think that it was a bit tongue in cheek, but and also, after you've kind of reconciled things, and in retrospect, you might look back and say, yeah, it's probably a good thing that I got out of that.
Yeah, but I do.
Those people were actually kind of toxic.
Yeah. I do wonder though if some people would be less inclined to shun someone if their livelihood and their comfort depended on them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
you wonder? I'm going to answer it for you.
Yeah.
Yes. I know someone who, this isn't a religious person that I know of, but this chap hates his dad. His dad is a wealthy person who's made a lot of money, working at a very lucrative career. Mm-hmm. He hates him. But Daddy pays for all of his bills.
Right.
Right? So he goes and takes the money and gripes about it all the time.
Right.
And he's an artist. And I always thought to myself, you're kind of a dirtbag. I mean, you're taking his money, but you won't take him in any meaningful way. If you really want to walk the walk, don't take his money. That's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah. I just wonder how you usually hear stories of, the child is shunned and cast from the house and all this stuff. But what if the dad is shunned and by all the other, the wife and the kids and
or the mom is shunned, or some person with a powerful position is shunned.
Well, the children and the wife are shunning the dad in the house, but the house belongs to the dad, and the dad can say, well, then you've shunned me, get out. That's got to happen.
I wouldn't think that would be very common.
Maybe not, but
generally,
it's weird.
Generally, the shunner is the person who is receiving the knowledge suddenly. The person who is coming out as an atheist or whatever, they have been living that for a long time, and they have reconciled, and they have finally found the courage to be who they are on the outside that they are on the inside. And they've come to terms with that, at least, to some extent. They're not going to be the ones suddenly shunning the family that have been living with, they've been living with these people knowing that they might be shunned.
Right.
They come out, and then the family learns who they are, and it's a shock to them.
Yeah.
I don't think it is really almost ever the case that the person who is coming out is the one who's going to be doing the shunning.
I'm gonna say that I can't say that I completely believe that. I don't know what the numbers are.
Well, I mean,
but I
did.
take your meaning, or your point. I think that in any event, being shunned by your family members is going to be horrible.
It's going to be horrible.
You can imagine a mother or a father or someone else, a guardian of some kind, who, after years of raising their family to a point maybe where those children or care receivers are maybe a little bit independent, or at least able to speak up for themselves. This is a loving environment, and this caretaker comes out and says, I don't believe this anymore. I'd imagine that would happen, and I imagine that what can a minor do? How does a minor shun a parent?
Right. Yeah, but I have to assume that would be demanded of the religion.
If there's no grandparents or no one in the community that can take care of them, they certainly don't have grounds for leaving their family.
What happens at that point? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. On a personal
level. Maybe the community would take care of them.
Yeah, but they don't have a right to just take a kid. They'd have to show some sort of real harm.
Yeah. I mean, on a personal level, I can only speak for myself.
Interesting question.
I have a strained relationship with a lot of my family members. Mm-hmm. And, I've been asked whether or not them being religious or just not atheists has something to do with them. Like, no. I've always been like this, and I've always known that we disagreed. I'm suddenly changed my behavior by letting you know who I am, and now there's a strain. Mm-hmm. I've always known that we had a disagreement. I wasn't letting it affect my behavior.
Yeah.
It's very clear that it's affecting your behavior. That's me.
I think I've been very fortunate in that I don't talk to a lot of my extended family members.
Yeah.
But my close family members, they know, and to the extent that there's disagreement and hope that I would change my belief status, it hasn't affected it in a way that has caused me any inconvenience or any real strife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
me being open about who I am doesn't change the fact that I've always known that we disagreed, and it never affected the way that, our dynamic as family members, not to get too specific.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I am open about myself, things have changed. Why do you think that is?
Right.
It ain't coming from me.
Did you go through a phase where you, if you don't mind talking, did you go through a phase where you, like that evangelical atheism, or I had vegan friends, evangelical vegans,
Oh, yeah.
They just have to tell you all about it, and I understand why.
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, when one vegan goes and does that to you, and then that person gets a new boyfriend or girlfriend, and then that person does it, and then another boyfriend and girlfriend, and then that person does it. Like, I've seen the videos of the cows being treated poorly.
Oh, yeah.
I understand. I'm still working it through in my head, but please save the PETA videos for now. All right, not to diminish your experience, but did you go through that phase?
I actually didn't. And I feel like that is because I didn't have that aha moment, that made me flip. I didn't have a portion of my life where I was believing something that I suddenly realized was a load of bullshit. And so I didn't have that reaction of, God, I'm angry at myself for allowing people to lie to me. I'm angry at myself for, for believing and spouting that lie. And I just want to lash out, And you see that a lot with new atheists because they've snapped. They've come out of that, and you see it with a lot of college kids. They're raised in these tiny, insular little communities, and their first semester of college, they learn, a lot of the stuff, a lot of the things that I was raised to believe are apparently a bunch of crap, and they get angry, and so yes, yeah, you get that allows you to get a lot of really good opportunistic sound bites and clips of college kids being kind of stupid and saying ridiculous things, and they get very, very passionate, and they get really annoying too sometimes, depending on what it is that they are discovering for the first time in their lives.
Do you think that the annoyingness or the outrage, let's just say that, the outrage of discovering that they don't believe a lot of the claims or a lot of the belief practices of their family and their childhood, that they don't longer believe it. I don't think I said that very well. Do you think that the revelation that they no longer believe it is more shocking, and their reaction to it is more bombastic if that initial belief is, let's say, more extreme, less in line with what we know about the world on a maybe not a common sense, but a scientific basis? Like a young Earth creationist might have a bigger explosion of evangelical atheism than, let's say, a lapsed Catholic that's like, oh, yeah, well, I kind of believed that before, but you know what? I don't really believe that.
I think that absolutely is probably a big part of it.
Yeah, fundamentalists are called fundamentalists for a reason. Yeah. It's part of their entire self-image.
Like the rubber band, if you pull it a little bit, it just kind of dangles. But if you really pull it far away from normal, reasonable understanding, it has a bigger snapback.
Yeah, and I think largely, you eventually work past that anger and you kind of refine your position, and I don't know. But you're absolutely right. I think the most passionate atheists that I know used to be hardline religious people of one, faith or another, because they have more fire, more passion, because they lived that experience and they remember the damage that it did to them psychologically.
Right. They can talk with authority about that.
I can look at the world and I can see the damage that religion does on a daily basis to, my society and my country and the world that I live in, but I don't have the same personal passion that a lot of other people do.
Right. Same here.
Yeah.
I just, not brought up in a religious household at all. I just assumed that religion was entertainment. And when I discovered that people actually believed it, I was shocked.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. I grew up in Illinois, and in our school, we watched, The Littlest Angel, this weird old movie, and it was just entertainment. It was a movie, right? Mm-hmm. But then later, I was a Boy Scout and at a jamboree, and I found myself the only person standing upright when everybody else had bowed heads, as the pastor or whatever it was talking at the front, and I looked over this sea of bowed heads, and I had that moment, and I went, oh, shit, they actually believe this stuff. And, yeah, that was the end of my Boy Scout career. It was like, whoa, no, I'm gone.
My experience was very blah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I grew up Catholic and went to Catholic elementary school and middle school and high school. And in middle school, I think I started asking questions and I get answers. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. They weren't very satisfying answers, just really basic stuff, of course. What if everyone's just making this stuff up? How could we ever tell? Oh, but it's divinely inspired. Oh, okay, I got it. And then over time, it kind of like, well, no, that's not a really good answer. And it wasn't a big, profound revelation to me. I never felt. I'll admit, I felt smarter than other people for a little while. When you're an obnoxious teenager,
sure.
That comes with the territory. And then as I got older, I just I know I'm not smarter than anybody else. I mean, I'm smarter than some people, I suppose, but not on this front, right? Just because they're convinced by something doesn't mean they're not brilliant people who just haven't turned that brilliance toward this one part of their life. And but yeah, and then at some point I just, I'm agnostic. And then at some point I'm like, well, I guess I'm an atheist. And then discovered the atheist experience and the ACA, and I'm like, oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff. And there's all kinds of people calling in. And I was, and still am, very eager to try to hear the good arguments.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of... In high school, I discovered a little bit of philosophy and stuff like that, right? And I go, I must be an agnostic. But then I read the definition of atheism, and I went, oh, no, that's what I am. Okay, cool. I fit that definition. All right. It was bizarre. And so I said, okay, I'm an atheist.
So it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was always very apathetic, and I just, I was like, no, I don't believe, but I don't care either.
Yeah.
But it was the 2016 election, and taking an interest in politics and taking an interest in current events that led me down this path. Because caring about what was going on around me led me to greater both internal and external examination, and finding more about myself, and then also finding the ACA and finding people, and just learning a better way of thinking. I didn't much care about any of this stuff. I didn't care about apologetics, counter-apologetics, logic, none of it.
Right.
But all of a sudden, you open your eyes a little bit and you start looking around, and...
Speaking about discovering things, this next story is awesome.
Thank you.
All 16 of the Museum of the Bible's Dead Sea Scroll fragments are forgeries. Yes.
Where's our womp?
Beginning in...
sound effect.
Beginning in... Thank you.
Here it is.
Beginning in 1947, archaeologists found scrolls and fragments of parchment inside a cave near the Dead Sea. Written on those Dead Sea scrolls were passages from the Hebrew Bible, far older than anything researchers had seen before. The discoveries gave them insight into how the Bible came to be written. While the bulk of the scrolls are owned by the Israeli government, some of them have been bought, sold, and traded on the black market. The Museum of the Bible in Washington, D.C., a $500 million museum, owned by the same evangelical Christian family that runs Hobby Lobby, acquired 16 of the supposed fragments several years ago. In 2018, it was revealed that
I remember when
5 of those fragments, were fake. They were forgeries. The Green family had been hoodwinked, or at the very least, the people who sold them the goods were duped. To their credit, they funded an independent investigation of all 16 fragments led by fraud expert Colette Lall. She insisted on a few wise conditions. Museum officials wouldn't be allowed to offer any input. Her report would be the final word on those artifacts, and the information would be made public either way so that the museum couldn't bury the truth. That report is now public. The bottom line, all 16 fragments of the Dead Sea Scrolls appear to be forgeries.
Yeah, as I recall, they acquired those illegally.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. A couple of years ago, when they did acquire them, they used very sketchy underground means of acquiring those.
Wow. In a report spanning more than 200 pages, Lall found that while the pieces are probably made of ancient leather, they were inked in modern times and modified to resemble Dead Sea Scrolls. These fragments were manipulated with the intent to deceive, Lall says. Despite being purchased at 4 different times from 4 different people, the report finds that all 16 of the Museum of the Bible's Dead Sea Scroll fragments were forged the same way, which strongly suggests that the forged fragments share a common source.
What's the name of the family? What's the name of that family? Who bought it?
They're the Hobby Lobby family.
Yeah, Hobby Lobby.
Yeah. Does it give the actual name of them? It only refers to them as Museum of the Bible and an evangelical family that runs Hobby Lobby.
Okay, the Hobby Lobby family. Do you think they're saying one of these 2 arguments?
The Green family.
The Green family. Do you think the Green family is, while they're wringing their hands in anger and disappointment, are they saying one of 2 things? Are they saying, one, God made the ink look like modern ink?
I don't know.
Right, to test our faith, or did the devil corrupt the ancient ink to make it look like modern ink to make us stray away from our beliefs?
It doesn't say what the response of the Museum of the Bible's Dead Sea Scrolls,
I'm sure they're working on it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe God
I think
wanted.
that they came out today.
This is March 13th,
yesterday.
2020. Yeah.
Maybe God wanted the ink to last forever, and so God not only divinely inspired the writers of those fragments, but also divinely preserved that ink so it looks like modern ink. So, because modern ink has got to be superior to ancient ink.
Well, for all we know, he divinely inspired the forgers.
There you go.
You should have done it to the paper too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's great.
I'm not terribly surprised.
No.
When you're using sketchy underground methods to acquire.
And you're gullible to begin with because
Okay, yeah, obviously you're gullible.
They were able to put together enough money to put a museum in Washington D.C. Maybe they're sharp in every other way, but it's a blind spot.
Yeah.
We got to be aware of our blind spots.
They are Hobby Lobby. I don't know if they do now, but I know a couple of years ago they didn't have barcodes on any of their products.
Oh gosh, was it because Number of the Beast?
Yes, it was the Number of the Beast conspiracy theory.
Cool.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I have no confidence in the Hobby Lobby family's ability to
distinguish fact from fiction.
Yeah.
Their grasp on reality is suspect.
I don't think they're very good at sussing the truth out.
Wow. I'm out of stories, man.
Did you have another question? I thought that you had another one.
I did, but it's more a wordplay, but I can bring it out.
Well,
all right.
Yeah, let's just switch it up here.
It's one I heard that blew my mind because I hadn't heard it before. Mm-hmm. It says, "Are you an atheist if you believe there was a God, but it died?" Which means you're an atheist because you don't believe there's a God anymore.
Yeah.
But still, weirdly, I suppose you could also be a theist because you could say, I believe there was a God. What does that make you if you say that?
I don't.
It's weird.
I don't know. It's funny. A couple of weeks back, I was on Talk Heathen, and a guy called in. He wanted to talk about abiogenesis, and it was a little all over the place. He basically just kept re-saying the exact same thing over and over in different ways, and he wasn't really listening very well. But ultimately, we ended up getting to, as long as we're just making up theories or making up hypotheses based on absolutely nothing, I'm a big fan of the Elder Scrolls Skyrim game.
Oh, yeah.
And part of their lore series, part of their lore is that the creator of the universe basically destroyed itself to create the universe that game series exists within. So there was technically a God, creature,
right.
but it destroyed itself.
In order
so
to
it no longer
create the
technically
universe.
exists.
I think I found that book too in Skyrim. Yeah.
Huh.
So as long as we're just making shit up,
Right.
Okay. How about that for our abiogenesis? It's just as plausible as your God hypothesis that you're spouting with.
If you believe in a being that created the universe, whether it exists now or not, what does that make you? I guess that would have to make you a theist.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be some subset of deism or some sort of like a pantheistic or not pantheistic, like a polytheistic lesser type of God.
Right.
Yeah,
but we don't usually think of the tense of the word atheist.
No, not so much. But yeah, you don't. We never really get calls from deists.
No,
because it's just
I've seen a few.
It's just a vague kind of, I think there's energy that might have a consciousness or whatever.
Oh, you don't believe in a higher power?
It's also wishy-washy that there's really no arguments.
God is the universe, God is love, God is intelligence, God is spirit, God is all these things. We'll just use those words.
Yeah, or just say quantum and call it a day.
If you want to see an incredible amount of loaded questions, go to a site called Quora, where people ask questions and get answers. And boy, the questions are a lot of the religious questions. If you're an atheist, why this? From the religious are so deeply loaded. It's amazing.
There's some great memes.
When did you stop beating your wife?
Yes.
Yeah. Classic.
Yeah. Hey, atheist, if God isn't real, then why did Jesus die for your sins?
Right. Yes. that kind of trash. Yes.
Checkmate.
Wow. Yep.
That's brutal.
Yes. It's amazingly missed the point by so far. Oh gosh.
All right. I think I got one last story.
All right. Go for it, man.
So back to coronavirus stuff. So
dun, dun, dun.
There is a faith healing school out in California, and they make a habit of going to local hospitals and praying over people who are in the hospital. The sentiment is heartwarming and wonderful. I will not disparage that whatsoever.
Okay.
What's funny is their school administration has asked them to stop doing that. Not only because of complaints from patients in nearby hospitals, but also just legal liability and common sense. They're like, hey,
Right.
maybe students stop exposing yourselves to sick people during a pandemic.
Right.
Showing people that you care is nice, but not right now. Showing up and going from patient to patient. Are they going to all the wards of the hospital?
I don't know, but I think what's funny about this story to me is how telling it is that the administration, it kind of seems like deep down they kind of know that the prayers aren't doing shit.
Well, obviously these people aren't from the same school as that, Sackville guy or whatever his name was from the first church.
Because if you really thought deep down that these prayers were doing something, you would be morally obligated to spend every minute of your day making sure that you are praying over somebody. Right. And it would be grossly immoral for you to do otherwise.
Right. Selfish to do so.
Yeah. I mean, you would have to take care of yourself to some degree to make sure that you could keep doing good for others. But if you really, truly believed that what you're doing was making a difference, then the impetus would be that you have to keep doing this.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the government says, and regardless of what the hospital says.
And I could have respect for that, except they don't go the trouble to find out if it's true.
Yeah.
And that's the deal breaker right there.
I feel like it's just very telling that they are willing to say, okay, yeah, we'll go away. We'll stop bothering you people.
I think this is a more, I don't want to say more reasonable church.
Yeah.
But maybe slightly, because they're essentially saying that he who prays and gets away lives to pray another day. And we do believe that this is an epidemic. We do believe in contagious diseases and what the experts are saying on this front. Never mind how there might be microevolution of this virus
Dun, dun, dun.
that will cause it to come back again and again and again. But it's not worth it for us if we wait just 6 months or 5 months or however long it's projected.
Right.
We can go back to the church or to the hospitals and continue our prayers and healing.
Yeah, I mean,
It's better. It's better than that asshole that was making people come in and.
Yeah, I guess.
I'll give him credit there. Yeah, absolutely. But
Low-hanging fruit. Let's take this one over that other jackass.
True. Yes. But as I said, it just feels like it's, admitting to some degree that, that what you're doing isn't making a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To some small degree, maybe in the back of your mind, you're like, okay. All right, fine. We'll let the professionals keep doing the things that we know actually help.
Why don't they just
Faith
go?
healing,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I'm saying, why don't they just stay in their homes and pray to guide the healing hands of the physicians and guide the antibacterial, potions that the doctors are concocting?
I'm sure the school made a public statement that's what they're going to do. They're going to pray from afar.
There is an explanation. What is it?
Yeah.
Is there some part of the praying magical ceremony where you have to be nearby the target of your prayer, or can
you
it
have
just
to
be
lay
at some
hands?
arbitrary distance? Come on.
I knew someone who paid to be a master energy channeler, right? and was an animal whisperer. Like a general animal whisperer is
Okay. Wow.
non-denominational.
So
animal whisperer.
not just horses.
Not just horses or dogs or other things. And this person really, I remember the quote was,
Species
I really
neutral.
I really want to be an animal whisperer or an energy channeler, but it just sounds so exhausting. And so, oh my. And so this person can do it over the telephone. Why not?
Yeah, sure.
This energy can't be measured.
Magic
Why,
is magic. Yeah.
Magic
You know
is
what?
magic.
It does take more energy to be constantly lying than to just tell the truth.
It
and
does.
not have to
it
worry.
Does. You gotta watch everything you say so you don't contradict yourself.
Yeah, a healthy relationship with someone is a lot less exhausting than an unhealthy one.
You say it's lying, and I still think we have to.
I'm going to
assume
call
it's
it maybe a little cognitive dissonance.
cognitive dissonance,
Yeah.
sloppy thinking, wishful thinking. I have to assume that these people mean the best.
Oh, I'm not saying that they're lying.
Yeah.
I was just using lying as like, for instance.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. You're good at that.
But they're-
You're very good at checking me. I appreciate it.
I've just got so much charity coming out of me.
The thing is, by making a show of it, that casts their motives in question.
Yeah.
By making a show of it, they're saying, "Oh, see the good work we're doing. We're more, we're better than you."
But here's something. Okay. They want to help in any way they can, right?
Yeah.
And they decided to pull back their faith healing efforts
Right.
out of an interest of preventing actual contagion from spreading. So the fact
Yeah.
that they're doing this now, and maybe people find out about that, are they spreading this other counter narrative that they were going to get in trouble legally, or from the hospital, or from the patients who get infected,
Right.
and that now it's going to create greater stress and conflict. Oh, my faith beliefs aren't being respected. I don't know. It just seems like they're creating a worse environment by going out there and then pulling back than if they had just been like, okay, we're gonna just not go out there.
They're stopping not from spiritual reasons, but for gross worldly reasons.
Well, patients complained, for one.
Well, then,
Patients complained that they were
Keep them
were
out.
bothersome. And also the
jeez.
hospital probably complained that they were
then I have no respect for them
also
whatsoever.
bothersome and also legal liability.
How old are these healers?
I think that's a high school, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. I mean, if they're forcing themselves on people,
In any case, they're either adolescents or young adults.
And these adolescents and young adults, a lot of people at that age want to go out and they want to help.
yeah.
And that's a wonderful instinct that needs to be fostered. And it's a great tragedy that these energies and this inspiration that could be devoted toward making real, measurable, effective change in the world is being spent on faith healing.
Right.
You know what's ironic? They're objectively doing more good now than they were before. Because they are
Yeah.
not out compromising the people in the hospital or themselves.
Right.
Right. And the people in the hospital are happier.
Yeah. They are objectively doing more good by doing nothing.
Wow.
But that's worse. See, they need to be doing real good, right? If you got this motivation
Just
to
saying,
do it,
more good
is
is better than bad, which is what they were doing. They were just patting themselves on the back for it.
I hope they were
Yeah.
Purelling their backs after they.
Yeah, yeah. It's a stepping stone. It's a step in the right direction. You're no longer, putting yourselves and other people in danger to basically stroke your own ego and make yourself feel better. You're no longer doing that.
What's that Flight of the Conchords
what's that?
song where
What's
they?
that first paragraph
I
say?
can't remember. Oh, that's. I chose not to read that because I was just.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's a Flight of the Conchords song where they're talking about all human life has been eradicated and only the robots survive. They've eliminated the unethical treatment of animals by eliminating all elephants. I don't know if that.
Weird. Yeah,
If
that'll
you're-
do
if-
it. There's
if you're curious, Dennis wanted to know about the Christian Hogwarts
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, they were called Christian Hogwarts for their goofy faith healing beliefs. Not that long ago.
Right.
But I chose to just give a synopsis of what was
Okay.
going on.
But I think that paragraph speaks to their character.
Their hearts are in the right place.
Okay.
They're doing better by
All right.
not doing the faith healing. So
Right.
I applaud them for that. And with that, I think, Dennis, can you send us out? Yeah.
I can do that.
All right.
All right. Well, that was our show, and we hope it was informative. We'll risk exposure to bring more information to you in 3 weeks on the 5th of April. Until then, keep your hands washed and your mind clear.
What are we doing, man? What are we doing?
No, you're done.